I hope that they can find it in themselves to dig deep and accomplish their dreams, whatever it may be.
I'm excited today to be speaking with Dana Abraham, the star writer, everyman of 100 Lies.
Awesome, man. I guess what I was just saying was that when Hollywood doesn't give you a job, you just got to make your own sometimes, you know. So you got to do a little bit of everything. Sometimes it's even boom operating if it needs to be done.
That's true. So, I mean, yeah, you're all over this particular film.
Yeah.
Where did the story come from? Why was this the one that you thought I really need to tell the story?
So it's a wonderful, unique story behind the story, and it was I had just wrapped up a film with Kim Coates titled Neon Lights in the heels of November 2020, and obviously we're all kind of sitting at home during the pandemic at that time. And January of 2021, I was introduced to Rob Raco through a mutual best friend. He's known this friend for decades. I've known this friend for decades in different ways. Um, and Rob was just coming off the heels of finishing up his last couple seasons of Riverdale, looking for his next thing. And so we just got on a call very similar to this, meet and greet, talking about life. And we were just discussing how challenging the entertainment sector is and how challenging it was for him as a drummer, as a musician, and how challenging it was for me as an actor, writer, just wanting to break through. And we really found like a pattern. And then it correlated to Ruz Behedari, the director of the film story, as an editor for music videos in the music industry, predicated in Toronto. And from there, the three of us started speaking, and we just started curating some of the stories and figuring out, hey, what's a hero's journey look like? But what does it look like for the 99% that actually do not make it out of their own cities or their own opportunities that they're given or handed to? And we wanted to be very transparent about what it looks like to make it as a musician. Just because, at that specific time in 2021, Shawn Mendes, Drake, obviously, The Weeknd, like some of the biggest artists in the world were coming out of Toronto, and everybody was very curious. So we wanted to kind of give it a glimpse on what it meant to be an artist coming out of Toronto.
I like what you're saying there because for every Drake, there's 100 people or more
Yeah,
that dream of becoming that, of having that break. And I like the fact that this film tells parallel stories at the same time. There
absolutely.
um
The unique thing on that regard too was that behind every human being that's trying to accomplish any sort of endeavor, undertaking a dream, there's so many individuals that are either tethered to that dream or in one way, shape, or form impacted by that dream. And that was really where Rob and Damian's journey came into play. Damian, the character I play, he's a struggling, he's selling drugs just to get himself through. And it's, you look at entertainment and you look at like the life that most like artists, starving artists live, whether it's in Toronto, Los Angeles, Vancouver, Chicago, New York, wherever it may be, or anywhere else in the world. I think the commonality is that you do what you need to do to make ends meet so that way you can try to realize that dream. And through it, you find people along the journey and you kind of get on that bus together. But at the end of the day, it is such a challenging, undertaking overall. It comes back to what we were just talking about on the opening. I'm trying to act, write, produce just because it's so difficult otherwise. Otherwise, I'm waiting and auditioning nonstop to get an opportunity that I have complete, utter like lack of control upon, right? So that's kind of the journey for all three, including Umberlee's character, Fiona, as well.
there's got to be such power in that, of saying, I want to play these roles, but I got to tell my own story, and I'm going to do it myself. If I can't do this, I'm going to do this. That's that I think that's so wonderful, so amazing. um because I mean, and it's a whole taps into a whole flow of creativity as well. It gives you every aspect. um
Like I, it's an interesting thing, and my fiance and I talk about this all the time. If Hollywood called tomorrow and gave me a studio offer, what does that look like? Because on the heels of these three films that I've produced over the last 18 months to now all of them kind of releasing around the same time frame, or one of them, Neon Lights, re-releasing worldwide, you wonder like what that journey was for. Like, do you then uproot yourself and pivot from independent film to studio film, or do you double down on what you've already been able to create as an artist? And I think the story really comes to I find it so enjoyable to have this conversation with you, to have conversation with PR, and to be so embedded in the entirety of the process. And I'm super grateful to God for that opportunity, because otherwise, where would I be? Would I be a Damian story or a Rob story? And like, would I still be bartending on King Street West, downtown Toronto? I'm super grateful to have the life that I do, being able to create the work that I do.
One of the lines that comes up in the film that I thought was particularly powerful was the idea that pain is relative. Not everyone's story involves a person who should be protecting us or hurting us, but pain is relative.
Absolutely.
And this particular film taps into this vibe of everybody's story taking a different path, even if the goal remains somewhat similar along the way. I was wondering, in your mind, what does that mean to you, whether or not pain is relative?
It's actually, I think humanity in and of itself. I'll take it back real quick. So humanity in and of itself during 2021 and the pandemic, we were experiencing excruciating pain.
Yeah.
We were apart from our families. We didn't have communication and any sort of relationship with the outside world, apart from what we were finding in our TV screens from the news and media channels. And from that perspective alone, it felt like we were all going through such harsh times. Suicide was an all-time high. Addiction was an all-time high. Alcoholism was an all-time high, because we were all now forced to be confined to four walls and looking in the mirror of who we are and actually have really difficult conversations with ourselves internally. Now you then expedite that time between 2021 to present day today. Pain is still continuously relative, because you look at what's happening in other parts of the world, and it's really difficult for me, especially being a person of color, to see what's happening to so many innocent individuals. I mean, not to make it political, but 15,000 children are now dead in Palestine. So for me, it's like we all experience pain in different degrees, but it's all exactly relative. Rob's journey, or Ricky's journey in that particular film, it's up and down. His mother's, and she's on the verge of like passing away, and he's trying to save her. He's trying to pull her out of that home so he can take better care of her. Damian's like going down this rabbit hole of nonstop debt. He doesn't know how to get himself out. And to be in debt is one thing when you can write that off, whether it's a Division One proposal or consumer proposal or bankruptcy. It's a whole nother when your life is on the line.
Yeah.
So all to say, my goal and objective with the screenplay and then Ruse Bay in capturing that, and obviously all of us as performers, was to ensure that anybody that watched it could resonate with that pain and the stakes of that.
Well, that begs the question, if you were able to sit down with Damian, what would you say to him?
Oh, oh, that Steve, that is such a wonderful question, because so much of that film came from first person experience between Rob, myself, and Ruse Bay.
Hmm.
Damian is not very different, and I'm starting to speak up a lot more about my experiences with addiction and all the things that I've undergone over the course of my 32 years in life and growing up in poverty and all the different environments. So all I would say to Damian is weather the storm, because you're a wonderful human being and you deserve the best. Just find it in yourself to weather it, because grass does become greener on the other side.
I love that because I love his character, and yet, like I said, parallel stories that sort of taking different routes and across the board. But um, I gotta pivot here. I gotta ask you about the music, because the music
Yeah.
is fantastic in this film. So, um, like your fellow actors and that, were they performing? Was
Oh my
that their voices? How'd the music come to be?
Well, so I mean, you can't have a Toronto music biz movie without music
Sure.
made in Toronto. So for us, it was actually so Gavin Brown, multi Juno award winning and Grammy nominated producer. He typically works out of Noble Street Studios. He's worked with everybody you can think of, from Bono, and consistently still does work with Bono.
Wow.
He worked with individuals like Shawn Mendes, Jesse Reyes, Drake, The Weeknd, Party Next Door, you name it. He's probably Billy Talent. He's worked with so many different individuals. I knew Gavin. He was wanting to get into film score early 2020 when we had been introduced. Rob has worked with Gavin, so it was a unique positioning, and God's timing is so perfect because Rob had worked with Gavin on, doing a lot of soundtracks in the past. So what we had done was like we got together, Ruse Bay, myself, and Rob, and said, let's go get Gavin on this, create some original soundtracks for the particular film. And Gavin, alongside Josh Skira, can compose. Gavin doesn't have experience composing on a film. Josh does. Let's put them together and we'll create some magic. So Rob got active writing the lyrics. Gavin produced the music. Rob also partnered with Toronto musician K Forest, who's now booming, lives in New York City, and is based out of there now. And K Forest, Umberly Gonzalez, Rob, they performed all of the soundtracks that are in the film. And then we had some musical appearances by massive renowned DJ Sick Kick, who's produced sounds for people like Bieber and etc. So we just wanted to make sure a music movie had amazing music.
That's incredible. That's a hard hitting list. Like that's I didn't realize it was that extensive, but I mean, because the music is so great in this film.
Thank you.
Um,
We definitely want, we knew we had the relationships when it came to the music side of the film itself. And even to go back to your previous question, like we had offers from a studio caliber financing arm to come in and finance the film. And they're massive. I won't even name them. They're going through a lot right now, but they're a massive concert company that pivoted into making films adjacent to their concert. And we had received an email correspondence stating that upon their public offering, the content that they initially wanted to finance just reveals too much about the music industry now, and unless we were willing to change the landscape of the story, uh, they'd have to release that film script from going towards production. So we then had to do private equity raise for it. But again, we wanted to be honest with the story. We wanted it to relate to a lot of individuals that have experienced this in any walk of life. Like imagine like a single mother who's raising their kid and how challenging that can be. It's daunting. And it's forget music, their ambition's feeding their child, right? It's relative. And so we wanted to tell the story the way we wanted to tell the story, and then coupling that, we wanted to make the music the way we wanted to make the music, so it could relate from a lyric perspective as well.
oh wow, that's awesome because it comes through. It comes through. It really I think it elevates the film so well. The film is so much fun. It's got solid characters, and it really brings that. It really feels authentic. That's the word I'm looking for. Is there's a certain honesty to it that I appreciate. What do you hope people take away from 100 Lies?
Wonderful question, Steve. I hope that they can find it in themselves to dig deep and accomplish their dreams, whatever it may be. I just recently became a father about 7 months ago now, and
Oh,
my
congrats! Congrats!
thank you so much, man. That's probably the best accomplishment I've had to date. But he's helped me pivot my ambitions as a person. I think now it's wanting to be a great father. It's wanting to give him everything he needs to be sustainable and grow as an amazing human being. So all to say, we want people to be able to dream big and realize that it's never easy, but there's everybody out there that's wanting to chase that big accomplishment. You two deserve it as well. So we want people to be able to realize that and leave, though the film has dark moments, leave feeling a little bit light, knowing that there's other people experiencing the exact same thing as you, and you're
Yeah,
gonna weather that storm. Grass will be greener on the other side for you.
I appreciate that a lot. Honestly, Dana, thank you so much for your time. The film is solid. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
You too, Steve. Thank you so much, man. Chat with you soon in the future.
Absolutely, that would be great.
All right. God bless.
Bye bye.